I'm just the type of person, when I see an opportunity, I take the opportunities. They're looking at you because they think you're amazing. That's why people are staring at you. When you are young, you are less fearful. You can't lose all the time, and you can't win all the time. People really underestimate the value of listening.
Welcome to Jojo's Cross Borders. So today we have Chantelle Keegans with us. So from every corner of her life, there's an entrepreneurship there. Let's explore her life story and career life.
But thank you for having me, Jojo. It's really a pleasure to be here with you today.
It's an honor for me to conduct this interview with you, and you are such an impressive young lady.
Usually, I like the young.
Young lady, you are a young lady, and then your career as a TV star, and also you're a model. Now you are a successful businesswoman. So that's why I want to interview today. I want to hear your story.
Yeah, well, it's definitely been a journey. It's definitely been a journey to get to this point, let me tell you.
Could you introduce yourself first?
Yes, of course. I'm Chantelle Keegans, formerly Chantelle Fraser. I was the founder of Flawless Model and Talent Agency in New York City, which I owned for 20 years. And also I was a star of Blood, Sweat and Heels, which is a TV show on Bravo's network.
Wow, impressive. So where are you from originally? You're British, right?
Yes,
from your
I'm actually a Birmingham girl, from Birmingham, which is middle of England. A Caribbean family. My family is Jamaican. My grandparents came during the Windrush in the 1940s. My parents were very small children, maybe 4 or 5 years old at the time. So they're essentially, I say, very British people.
Yeah, but you're second generation of immigration from Jamaica.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So I saw that you graduate as a psychologist, be a psychologist there, and then you made a master degree in LSE, like management. So what a talent is. And then become an actress, right? Yeah, tell us of your journey and what made you move from London to New York City and establish your business there.
Yeah, so I graduated from Goldsmiths, doing undergraduate in psychology, and then did a master's
in management.
Yes, at the LSE.
Yeah.
My original career path, which I had wanted to pursue, was actually to be an organizational psychologist,
which is I'm doing now.
Which is a great career, but I think in the end it was just too daunting, because when you realize, wow, all these statistics, and it was just very overwhelming for me. So I think doing that type of a degree at such a young age is probably wasted on a young person, because I think with that type of industry, I think a life experience, organizational experience, is key to really understanding the principles of these subjects. I think that it was a great experience for me, but in hindsight, it's something that I think should have been pursued, at a more experienced
later life,
date in my career.
Yeah.
But to be fair, it's the career path. My journey has been an amazing journey, and I've kind of ended up where I am due to a series of kind of opportunities, really. So after graduating from LSE, I actually worked as a waitress, during...
Well, master degree in management, so working as a waitress.
Well, just actually during school, I worked as a waitress. During school, I was waitressing. Actually, it was a private members club owned by Ronnie Wood, the Rolling Stone. There's a lot of fabulous people there, and I actually met an entrepreneur who owns a very big clothing chain at the club, and he was also an LSE alumni. So we kind of bonded over that, and he actually offered me a job in the States. He was working on a private equity deal and offered me a job over there. So that was actually how I got to the States.
That's just how you moved to New York City.
Yeah, so it was like an opportunity that kind of came my way, and then I just kind of jumped at the opportunity. I was like, yep, I'm off. So
yes, yeah.
And I didn't at the time when I met him, I didn't know anything about him. I was just obviously very gracious and, you know, kind, and we got kind of into conversations about business and what I was doing with my life, and he, you know, gave me an opportunity. So I just walked.
What did you do
through that door?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the job about?
The job was he was purchasing a hotel, so I was kind of assisting him with kind of his you know, day-to-day.
Oh, okay. So still nothing to do with your fashion.
That just got me into America.
Got
me into America. So that was New York. So that was Miami. So I lived in Miami for that period of time. Prior to that, just to go back, I actually did a gap year between my master's and my undergraduate, and I worked for Elite Los Angeles. So I was in Los Angeles, you know, with Elite. And I kind of knew I always wanted to have my own business.
Entrepreneurship.
Yeah. I mean, I'd had, you know, from a child, I'd always kind of, you know, I don't say I was like a child laborer, but, you know, 80s child, you know, parents always encourage you to, you know, do something. So paper round was my first, you know, first job. And, you know, from I think 18 or 19, I always kind of was doing something, always wanting to make my own money. So then during university, I started my own recruitment firm. And again, this was another kind of opportunity that knocked. I was flat hunting, and I'd had a job, one of my many, you know, small jobs, was working for a recruitment company. And, you know, I wasn't working for that company while I was looking for, you know, a flat. But the person that showed me the flat, we got to talking, and he started telling me about, you know, his business and how he's struggling to find staff. So again, I was like, this is an opportunity for me. So I said, you know, I've worked in recruitment. So he said, really? So yeah, he basically offered me a contract to find him some employees for his job, and that's basically how I started my first company, which was called Sensory Recruitment. So from that gig, I managed to parlay that into getting other clients. So I did that for, you know, a few years during university as well. So it's kind of always just, you know, I'm just the type of person, when I see an opportunity, I take the opportunities, you know, and you never know when opportunity is going to knock.
Wow. So you started your first company when you were in university? Yeah,
when I was in university. That was actually a very successful company, to be honest. That was very successful.
It's also by like you're chatting, you're looking for a flat. And then so because you must have a really good communication, small talk, like a skill, discover, like a basically truly interesting on those people you're talking with, and then digging out the opportunity and connected with your supply, right?
Well, I think that people really underestimate the value of listening. You know, people hear you, but do they actually listen to you? You know, so I think if you can be someone that really is listening to people and really interested, being really interested in someone. And I think that kind of comes from my background in psychology. I am genuinely interested in people, which is why I did pursue that. So I am genuinely interested in what makes someone tick, why they are who they are, or what they're doing, why they're doing what they're doing. So for me, people are interesting. So it's very natural for me to be interested and to
listen to,
because I genuinely am. And I think when someone feels authenticity, I don't think it necessarily matters what you're saying or how articulate you are, your accent, or I think if you can just portray authenticity, then that is what connects you to people. So I was able to, I guess, you know, garner trust through that.
From while you're looking for flats, then also you moved to New York City when you just basically meeting the alumni in the restaurant,
serving them and being gracious.
All the doors open for you.
Yes.
Actually, the first business is also somehow related to your company, like a Flawless as well, because you're kind of like acting as a agents looking for models, right? For the advertisement and the stage agency, right?
Well, exactly. Yes, it's all you know, it's all kind of people oriented and understanding what people need and matching those wants and needs.
So what brings you to the model? What brings you to the actress? From psychology, from the management. Another jump. Okay, tell us.
Okay, I suppose one of the key themes that you're realizing about me is spontaneity, and I think it's something that spontaneity is a very youthful trait, and you know, I would say one of the great things about being young is that you have that ability to just be spontaneous, and that was a key kind of part of my story, the fact that I was spontaneous and I took all my opportunities. Anything that came to me, I was like, yes. I was a yes person. Yes. So anyway, while I was in Miami, a friend of mine said, hey, come to New York for a week. So I said, yep, got a flat, just come. I said, sure. So my job in Miami was actually ending at this point. So it was a transitional period. It's like, well, I have to go back to England. I didn't want to go back to England. So I told my friends and family in England, I said, I'm moving to New York. That's it.
Nothing happened. So you told them I'm moving to New York.
Yeah, I was moving to New York.
You attracted this energy as well.
Yeah,
moving to New York.
Yeah, so prior to moving, I kind of started interviewing for jobs as a modeling agent. So I managed to get a job with one of the biggest modeling agencies in New York, called Karen Models, which is now MC². It's an international modeling agency in New York. So I became an agent for Karen Models there. So I did that for only a couple of years, actually. I think I was an agent for maybe 3 years in total. And by this time I'd be in my early 20s, maybe 23, 24, not sure exactly. And during the process, we were a very high fashion agency. So, you know, we were representing Victoria's Secret models, you know, models that were getting paid a lot of money for these photo shoots. Then on the other side, you've got the new face models who are not experienced enough, or they don't have we call them tear sheets, which is basically the portfolio to garner these types of rates. So they're new models, they're starting off. Then you kind of have, you know, the working average model. So, you know, you have your Victoria's Secret models, but there's a scale, right?
Yeah.
There's the new faces.
Yeah.
There is the models that are just the working models that are not earning those types of money. They're earning like a normal salary, but these salary, you know, also the jobs are sporadic. They're not getting jobs every day.
How much?
So a Victoria's Secret
like a Chinese way, how much is it?
A Victoria's Secret model during that period, we'll be getting maybe 40,000 for a shoot for a day. Easily 40, or if they were doing maybe a catalogue shoot.
Still better than I made.
Catalogue shoot could be 10,000 a day just for a catalogue. You know, so, but then on the flip side, you're getting models earning 300 a day, struggling in New York City. You know, New York City is a very, very expensive place, or maybe they're not making any money. They're doing
300 a day.
Yes.
In New York City.
Yes.
Yeah, struggling.
Yeah. Or maybe they're not getting paid at all. They're being paid in trade. They're doing run with their new faces.
Yeah.
And they are being paid in clothing.
Yes.
Or they're doing a shoot for a big magazine and they're being shot by a famous photographer. So they're getting the tear sheets for their portfolio, if you understand what that means. So, you know, the more tear sheets you have, the more desirable you are to bigger clients that see that you've worked with big photographers.
I understand.
Yeah. So
what did you see?
So for me, what I noticed, there's a niche here. So again, this is what happened. Yes. I remember being in a restaurant and seeing one of my models working in the restaurant, like, you know, serving or hostessing, a few of them hostessing, and this was a common occurrence. A lot of them had kind of part-time jobs, you know, to make ends meet while they were you know, waiting for work or waiting for paychecks. Because another thing with the modeling industry is that payments are not regular.
Yeah.
They could be every 3 months. There's no regulations here, right?
Yeah.
You know, they could be 6 months to if a client hasn't paid. So the models were, all of them were struggling. So it looks like a glamorous lifestyle, but there's a lot of financial struggle with some of the new or just the average working model. So yeah, they have to have part-time jobs. So I was like, And then I remembered being in the office and a
So
company.
you saw the model like in the restaurant?
Yes, saw the model lots of times. I would see this. And I remember being in the office and turning down jobs that were paying, you know, less than £1,000 dollars, but still good money. You know, maybe 500, 800. But we're turning these jobs down because it's not, you know, the agency wants only high-profile jobs, right? So I'm thinking,
that's what I can do.
This is a great company. This is a blue chip brand.
Yeah.
They're looking for models for, okay, maybe a high-end promotional event or, you know, a smaller scale job. But I'm turning this job down. But really, this model is working for, I don't know, for how much what a restaurant you make, £15 an hour, $15 an hour. So I'm thinking, there's a market here for this. So I thought, So I quit the job.
Straight away?
Yeah.
And then?
Well, ruminating for a moment in my mind. So I quit, which was a good time in hindsight. Would I do that now? Probably not. But again, as a youth, you know, you're fearless, right? And that was kind of, so I, you know, at the time I had a flatmate as well. And I remember thinking, gosh, starting this company, how am I even going to pay my rent? You know, I've now just quit my job. I had no idea of how I was going to grow this company. I just knew that I had an idea. I knew there was a market for this. So I thought, okay, I'm going to give it a go. So I, you know, had a network of all these models. And then I just literally started calling companies. I called Estée Lauder, MAC Cosmetics, and then Estée Lauder literally cold called them. Hadn't spoken to any of these people before, and they gave me a chance and I got my first account was MAC Cosmetics, so I had a national account for MAC Cosmetics. So I don't know if it was luck or what, or
it must be your brain.
Maybe it was the time. 20 years ago, you could possibly do that.
Not lose.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
so I just said, you know what? I don't care if people put the phone down on me. I'm just going to keep going and keep going. And I thought, I'm going to just start high. I'm not going to go for the small companies. I'm just going to go for the big brands. So I called all the big brands, and I think we had talked about briefly about the difference between American culture and British culture. Right?
Yes.
And I think my experience really speaks to how American culture really can kind of elevate you and change your life. I think in America, there is a culture of success. They want you to succeed in America. And, you know, I do believe that the American dream is real. You know, and they support success. Whereas if you look at the kind of tabloid culture here in the UK, I think it's kind of gotten better now, I have to say, but, you know, I think they try to drag, there's an element of, you know, there's a saying, you know, don't get above your station in England. There's, you know, and I think it definitely comes from the class divide in this country, where people are, you know, taught to kind of stay within the class systems here, and I think that isn't as appropriate in the States, where people have more, I suppose, free movement, and you're encouraged to grow. Again, things have changed in England a lot now, but
it's getting better.
It is getting better, I think. But back then, I think if you have an idea in America, you will be given the chance if you have a good product.
Yeah. Chances are more.
Yeah, I think the chances are more, and people
willing
support
to
that.
help.
Yeah,
yes,
people are willing
exactly.
to
So
support
people
that.
support, right?
Yeah.
When they get cold called, they're gonna say, "Who is this girl?" Right? But rather than they listen, they give you the opportunity.
They gave me the opportunity. They didn't say, "Well, what's your experience? What are you doing? Where are you from?" They gave me the experience to come and present. I'm like, okay. So I do. People say a lot of negative things about America, but my experience in America was, I have to say, amazing, and so many opportunities came.
That's
my
20
way.
years ago. Now talk about 20 years later when President Trump, might think different now.
That was very true. Things have changed a lot.
But that was a big difference. So you have all the opportunity and the acceptance, for who you are, and they give you the business opportunity as well. That's how you found the Flawless.
Yeah, that's how I founded Flawless.
So successful, and
and I had the company just kept growing, and because I already had a network of modeling agents as well, they would also give me work that the agencies didn't want as well, that were not high profile enough. So
something they don't want to look at.
Yeah, don't want to look small for them. So a friend of mine from an agency called me, say, Armani, they're doing a runway show and they need 100 models, but. So I was like, sure, bring it my way. But then, the funny thing was, years later, a lot of the big modeling agencies caught on to my idea, and they started, newer divisions to capture that level of business, like the prestigious agency.
But actually, even as they realize, okay, this is a big piece of a steak, we need less. But you have changing your business model, because I read your profile. I mean, basically you're choosing the models not just for face. It's also like ambassadors, present your brands by events or something, which
Absolutely.
this is some other agency, they wouldn't do that, right? So you keep updating them, leading the trend, leading the way, so they can't keep up with you, right? So what come up this idea that's a model, not just a face?
Well, I think people, as a model, it looks glamorous. People from the outside think, it's an amazing job, but a lot of times their models are dismissed and they're not spoken to directly. But then when you actually sit down with a lot of them, they have other skills. Some of them are DJ, some of them are dance, some of them are singers, some of them are writers, some of them are great communicators, but what other things can they do when a full-time job is not conducive to a model's schedule? So what does a model do? So what I did is said, okay, you're a model, that's my network. If you have other skills, then we can present you to clients that can utilize these other skills. If you're a good communicator, maybe, I don't know, at Giorgio Armani, they're looking for brand ambassadors that obviously fit the aesthetic, but they also need models that also can communicate their brand needs and expectations as well. That was kind of the thinking behind it. So it's more of a 3D model as opposed to
that's what I want to say. So you're also doing like a 360 or 3D model. Also, it's a helping model in the way that's not just working from their pretty face, right?
Exactly.
With their overall skill and the brain as well. That's very
so
unique.
Some of the experiences that the models would be, there'd be conferences, business conferences.
To business as well.
For banks. There's so many different opportunities that they were able to be presented with. So it was great.
Amazing. Yeah. What I can hear from your story is be general, interesting to other people. That's from psychology part of you, right? Be a psychologist or learn a psychology. When you show your true interest for other people, then this other opportunity might present it to you.
Absolutely.
And they say yes to all the possibilities.
Yeah, just say yes.
Open the door and say yes and
Yeah.
try it and find out if you like it, if you can do it.
Yeah, my dad said something really interesting the other day. I was playing a tennis match and I was losing.
Yeah.
And my dad said, "Did you win?" I said, "No, I lost. Lost." And my dad said, "Well, you can't lose all the time, and you can't win all the time." And with that, I was like, that's a very good, it's a simple philosophy, but if you just think about that, then that can really be a relaxing thought, because, thinking about failure, I think, could be quite crippling. So when you think about, am I going to fail at this? And that can really hold you back.
Exactly.
So if you think, failure is a natural part of life, you're going to fail.
And
You're not going to win everything. This is life. But you keep trying, and at some point, you got to win, right? You've got to win.
Thank you so much for today, sharing your business story. And stay with us. We're going to have a chapter 2, digging out the lovely life personal story from Chantelle.
Awesome. Thank you very much.